We are actually live. We are live now, on the air, and we got some beautiful, beautiful
Yay.
music in the background playing, which I'm going to slowly fade out here. Slowly fade out. But welcome everyone to session one and only, the one shot of a Avatar Legends actual play, thanks to none other than Umbral Dagger, DerWolf's own Umbral Dagger, spending 25,000 points and requesting a one shot. He was actually very gracious about this. He super was gracious about it. He was like, here's a couple of different options. This is the one I want, but I want you to run what you want to run, Wolf. And my response to him, I believe Umbral, sir, was, I'll run whatever you want. Just understand that some of these settings I have no idea and I know nothing about. So just bear with me, my dude. Just bear with me. But welcome, everyone. Welcome. And as is tradition, we're going to have everyone go around the table. We're going to have them introduce themselves, tell us who they are playing, and then we're going to dive into a little bit of a homebrew, sort of based off of the starting story in the actual core book. But I'm calling it the Vanishing Trick. That's what I'm calling it. Not the Vanishing Act, the Vanishing Trick. No, actually, you know what? Maybe not the Vanishing Trick. What do I want to call it? We're gonna call it the Vanishing Wind. That's what we're gonna call it. The Vanishing Wind. All right. Fuck it. We'll do it live. That's where we're at. We're doing it live. So there we
Yeah.
go. We're doing it live, and we're gonna have some fun here. And we're
Doing
just
it
gonna
live,
dive into the
fixing it
world.
in post.
We're gonna fix it in
Y-
post. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
if you're
fine.
watching this on YouTube and my voice started coming out of
Yeah.
Wolf's mouth, it's because I fixed it in post.
He fixed it in post. He was like, "We're gonna call it Bri, the Surfer Mod
but-
Guy's Adventure." I love it. All right, so we're gonna go Drew, Umbral, C4A, and Bri. My friends, take it away. Tell us who you are and what character you'll be playing for our adventure today.
Hi, I'm Drew. I'm going to be playing Waru. He is a Earth Kingdom weapon user. I'm not playing a bender because I like to subvert the dominant paradigm or something. I don't know. I'm just making shit up as I go.
Umbral, take it away.
All right. I am Umbral Dagger, Ben. I will be playing. Oops. I will be playing Makwa, the water bender from the North Pole. And I have a rage boner for Fire Nation.
Ooh, that'll work out really good for everybody involved. That'll be really good. That'll be really, really, really good. And of course, C4A, take it away.
I am C4A, and I am playing Isho, an airbender. So this is kind of a parallel universe, I suppose, off branch. I don't know, but she is traveling with I guess, or had been traveling with like a circus troupe of a sort. She's a performer, entertainer.
I like it. Of course, Bri.
I am Brian. I'm at MindOverBrian on both Twitter and on Twitch, although on Twitch I spell it with a 0. And I am playing Taitsu, a quiet Fire Nation firebender who is also trying to subvert the dominant paradigm because he's not particularly interested in dominating people. He wants everybody to work together. And so he's sort of subverting the expectations that his father has for him and traveling around trying to right some wrongs.
Love it. I love it. And also, Drew, I love you too, buddy. I love you too. You're a funny man. We're going to open our first scene in a thick, very densely forested, forest, as it were. And we see a young man walking down a forested path. It is a trail that has obviously been used over time. It's sort of one of those cut through the forest just because that was the quickest route between point A and point B. You can see that along the sides of this particular path there are these little bits of grass and shrubbery, but with the denseness of this particular forest, most of the small little plants and little shrubs and whatnot have actually been really killed off by the larger trees around. So as we see this young man walking down this path, we see him looking left, he looks right, and Bri, I'd like you to take a moment to describe what your character looks like. You find yourselves just south of the Sky Peak Mountains. You have been traveling all over the lands of this wonderful world that we find ourselves in. And through one course of events or another, you find yourselves very close to the far north, very far away from your home, as it were, from the Fire Nation Islands. And you're walking along this path. Tell me, Bri, what has brought your character to this moment, and give us just a brief description of what he looks like.
So, Taitsu is a pretty affable looking guy. He tends to try to fade into the background. He's like almost stereotypically Fire Nation. He's got the hair bun. His hair is, because he's trying to um, put on an air of approachability. The rest of his hair, and he's got a lot of it, is kind of loose, just sort of all over the place, so that he doesn't look too put together, making him look military. Um, he is wearing the traditional Fire Nation robes with the bend over. One of the immediate things people will notice is that he's got a couple scars on his face. But rather than serving to make him more intimidating, they just somehow lend to his air of sort of like vulnerability, which makes him a little more approachable than most Fire Nation people are. He carries a staff, or walks with a staff, and just recently he left a town where they were struggling because the Fire Nation had been denying them resources, and so he is sort of very satisfiedly walking through the forest after having just aided these people in acquiring the resources they needed in a way that would make it sustainable.
So as we see Taitsu, am I saying that correctly? Taitsu?
Taitsu.
So we see him walking down this path, Taitsu. As you've been walking for several days, and as you reach down to check your little water skin that you actually have a backpack that is not laden, it's not like bogged down with supplies, but these people were so grateful for the assistance that you offered to them in this small village that they sent you away with enough supplies to hopefully last for many days, perhaps even weeks on your journey as you travel around trying to do good in the society, in the world, as it were. But as you reach down, you go to pat your little water pouch, you realize that this little water skin that you have is, well, it is bone dry. At some point over the last couple of days, you've been drinking from this water skin, and it must have skipped your mind to really fill it back up again. So, what would you like to do in this situation, Taitsu? What is your game plan moving forward?
Taitsu is honestly, his background is mostly urban, so he is immediately going to be like, where are rivers? And just sort of listen around. He'll do that thing that people who don't know what they're doing will do, which is he'll be like, can I smell water? Is that it? Smells wet over this way, maybe. And then he'll just sort of like pick a direction and go that way.
I love that. So as you pick a direction and you start going that way, we're going to pan away from you. So you actually are walking down this path and you think, well, maybe it's left, maybe it's right. You go left, right, and then you pick a direction. You start walking in that direction. As you start walking, we watch as the camera pans up over the trees. We see a couple of birds flying around. We see a couple of those little flying squirrel things like jumping from tree to tree. And then we pivot over and we actually go down. And the direction that Taitsu is walking towards is actually the direction of, as luck would have it, towards a river. And on the edge of that river, we see a young man. And I'd like Umbral to take a moment to go ahead and describe your character to us and what he is doing along this river in this particular moment, and give us an idea of what's brought him to this particular moment in time.
You would see a well-built, muscular young man, probably in his late teens. He is got dark hair, wearing the clothes of the Water Nation. You would see that like he's got a pack near him with some furs on it, where he's just wearing one layer, mostly due to the fact that he's used to the cold, so heat doesn't do well with him. And he's kind of just sitting on the edge of the river, and playing with the water, kind of contemplating where he's going to go next. He's really not sure where he's going because he's kind of wandering aimlessly. It's not been that long since the tragedy.
I like that. I like that. So he's been wandering aimlessly down from the far reaches of the north, the water nation that lives at the crown of the world, the top of the world, as it were. And he has traveled south. He has seen some of the devastation that took place near the Northern Air Temple, the Air Nomads' lands. And we're just south, actually, of the Northern Air Temple, just south of the Sky Peak Mountains. And you have found yourself along this river, and perhaps it was something about the tone of this particular river, the sound of it running along. It just has this sort of very calming effect to it. And as you are sitting by this river or standing by the river, whatever you choose, you hear a twig. You hear something break behind you, and standing behind you, you see another young man with a long hair at his back, wearing these greenish colored robes. And Drubaka, I'd like you to take a moment to describe your character. You've just stumbled upon a young man, another young man, standing by a river, sitting by a river. And what's brought you to this point, Drubaka? And describe your character to us, please.
Waru is kind of big guy, stocky, younger. He has a scar over his eye, long hair, kind of shaved at the sides, and he's carrying a tetsubo, like a big war club, studded war club. And he's just traveling. He's searching, long term. He's searching for the bandit that murdered his family.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like at this point in his life, it's feeling a little bit hollow. He's doing it as a reason to go out and see the world. It's less about revenge and more about just you got to have something to do. So
Self-discovery, maybe.
yeah,
Like that.
yeah.
Like
The
that.
revenge is becoming less and less the motivation, and more just kind of a blanket excuse
I like that.
to travel.
And as you look at Makwa, and Makwa looks at Waru, a few moments later, we hear this boop, 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 oh shit, fuck, oh, and we see Taitsu has tripped and is now tumbling down a hillside and is going to land right in the middle of the two of you. Now, simultaneously as that happens, Isho, you have been traveling away from your circus group because one of the young air buffaloes, unfortunately got out of its pen and has wandered off. And you have been sent, because it was your responsibility to look after it, to tend to these creatures. You have been sent to go and find it. And let me tell you, it's only a couple of years old. It's still very, very, very tiny. It's maybe like the size of a small dog at this point. It hasn't become so large where you can ride it and fly around with it, but it itself can fly. So you've been looking for several hours. Your circus troupe is camped just a little ways off, maybe a couple miles off, and you've been trying to follow the trails. And so you now arrive on the scene as well. You see this Fire Nation looking gentleman on the ground, his face down in the mud. We see a Water Nation young man looking sort of pensive in this moment. And then we see this warrior-like looking fellow, it sort of sounds like, with a very stern expression on his face, I imagine, Drew, standing there. And take a moment to describe your character to us, Isho, and what you've been doing while you've been looking for this air buffalo.
Okay, so Isho is a mid-teen, I suppose. I think I forgot to mention it earlier, but she is a bender, which is why parallel universe. Anyway, she is very playful, loves people pleaser, loves adventure. So she loves traveling around with this group. And she wears her performance uniform is similar to what the monks, the airbending monks would wear. That's kind of part of a homage to her ancestors, but then like combining old and new together. So while she has been looking for the sky bison, I don't know, she's just enjoying the day. Like it's a beautiful day. She's not too
Gorgeous.
terribly worried about the little guy. So she's just been checking out the scenery in the area, occasionally, popping up above the tree line and
Doing her
so
thing.
she just,
So I'd like
yeah.
to imagine that you've just popped up above the tree line, and as you come down to land, you land. So imagine, if you will, there's this. It's not a wide river. It's maybe about 50 feet across. It's more of a large stream. Only at its deepest, it's probably only maybe 3 or 4 feet deep in the center. So it's just a nice, calm, very crystal clear stream. And to mention the beautiful day, you look up and there's just a couple of those beautiful white puffy clouds, but you still have this beautiful rays of sunshine coming down. They're not blocking any of the sun. It's warm, but not too warm. There's a cool breeze. So literally, it's like the perfect day. Nothing bad will happen, probably. Nothing bad could ever happen in this moment. But as you all now land, so imagine it's kind of like a Mexican standoff +1. We've got Taitsu in the middle. We've got Waru over on the side. We've got Isho there, and we've got Makwa standing. And why don't you all just take the scene here? And what do you guys do in this moment if you've all stumbled upon each other?
Hello, friends. Have you seen a small bison, by the way?
A sky bison?
Mhm.
Not since the last time I saw the circus.
Okay, well,
No, unfortunately, I haven't seen one. And then Mako would notice the colors of the figure on the ground and would immediately jump back into the water and just pull up a shield and of water and be ready to figure out what's going on.
Oh no.
Meanwhile, Taitsu is laying on the ground, hoping that no one noticed him. If I just stay very still, maybe no one will notice.
Waru will kind of step up to him and not like attack or anything, but he walks up and kind of looks, he's, a big dude, looks kind of down on him and just places the tip of his club on the center of Taitsu's chest. So what are we doing here, Fire Nation?
and Isho is staying back, but a patron is a patron, so polite but distant.
I just wanted to fill my water skin, and he like very, very slowly hand to his waist, pulls out the water skin.
And do I hear no sloshing in it?
None.
I look around, I'm like, I mean, a man's got to get water, and I'll pull the wait, do you know a bandit named Tao Li?
No, I don't associate with bandits.
All right, cool. Lifts the club up and takes a step back.
Mako is
Very-
just staring, just
Very shamefacedly,
suspiciously.
like gets up, like, haha. Okay, I'll just hey, oh, you bend water. That's really cool. I'm just gonna fill my water skin.
Where's the rest of your troop?
Nope, no troop. It's just me. I'm Taitsu. I was just headed. There's a small village at the crook of the river, at the base of the Sky Peak Mountains, and it sounds like they needed some supplies, so I'm just headed there to help them. I'm good at logistics. Can I'm just gonna approach the river.
And
Please don't waterbend me.
just continues stepping back, like just water shield up and ready to just like whip out.
And
at
if
him.
you are stepping back, Makwa, I'm going to have you make the first roll of the game. You're going to
Oh,
make
boy.
the first roll of the game, and I'd like you to roll a assess the situation. And the question that you are asking, the question is what you should be on the lookout for. And that's the question I'm going to answer for you. So go ahead and roll 2d6. You're going to be rolling with creativity. You're going to be rolling with creativity.
Okay, so I hit the die
Mhm.
with creativity.
Mhm.
No pluses or minuses.
In this situation, I would say no pluses or minuses, just a straight roll. 9, success. So brilliant stuff happens. You are taking a couple steps back. Now, normally when you roll and assess a situation, you get a chance to ask one of 5 different questions. I'm just going to give this one to you because I want us to start getting into the rules so you can start to get a feel for how the rules work for this Powered by the Apocalypse game. So the question that you were going to ask, that I'm going to make you ask, is what should you be on the lookout for? And what you should be on the lookout for is a small, fluffy little air buffalo that is apparently landed right behind you as you're backing up that you just in time notice, but still kind of fall over, but don't crush. So you fall over, the thing goes and it like starts to run off and then takes flight and goes into the air and starts flying away towards the west. And Makwa, you land on your butt and your little water bending you were doing goes sploosh and covers you in water, and we find ourselves in this situation.
I mean, being covered in water is not a bad thing for me.
Not at all.
I think we found your sky bison.
Thank you.
It says.
Well, I hope you catch him.
Powered by Apocalypse is a marvelous system, Lovecraft. Thank you for watching. Gotta catch the sky bison before someone else tries to eat it. Everyone knows sky bison is the best buffalo wings. That's terrible, Buzz. What the hell? Oh no!
It's a baby.
It's just a baby.
Just a baby.
That's when the meat is the
Just a
most
baby.
tender.
That's when the meat is the most tender.
Stop.
Well, no,
Um,
technically, when the
no.
meat would be the most tender when it hasn't even just when it's
I'm going
literally
to
just been
fly
born.
away and leave you all.
Yes.
That's
So as
reasonable at
this
you
I'm not a part of this.
As you go to fly away, the air bison has flown up into a tree, has landed on the tree, and its little like big like little floppy ears that it has. And I imagine that the air buffaloes, like when they're young, they have the little horns. He's got little horns, but he also has these ears that he's got, and they're kind of like they're too big for his head. Because when they grow up, the ears don't keep growing. But when they're young, they're like big and floppy, kind of like a little puppy, like a dachshund or like a Dutch hound or something like that. Little hound
Dachshund.
dog, yeah, dachshund. And he's just up in the tree. He's like, "Meow." He's just like mad. And as you go to fly up towards him, we're gonna have you make a roll for this. I want you to flavor this because you are trying to fly up and catch this little air buffalo. Correct me if I'm wrong. Trying to fly up and catch this little air buffalo. So what we're gonna do is you have some options. I think this is probably going to be rely on your skills and training, right? Because you're trying to overcome an obstacle, right? So you are going to be rolling a rely on skills with your skills and training. And so basically when you rely on your skills and training to overcome an obstacle, gain new insight, or perform a familiar custom, roll with focus. So you're going to roll with focus. On a hit, you do it. So 7 to 9. You do it, and then if you do, 10 plus, you succeed. But if you fail, you can accept the consequences, or you can mark 1 fatigue to still succeed, but you mark a fatigue if you fail. There's a couple different ways to still succeed, but you can like slowly run out of resources as you move forward. Does that make sense? Kind of.
Yes. Yeah, kind of. Was there an input value?
No, you're not. You don't have any pluses or minuses at this point, as far as I know, unless you have a plus or minus for your focus. Like if you have a plus or minus for focus, it should be in that little box when you built the character.
I guess who forgot to make her stats?
Oh, well, that's
There's a
Just-
little drop down that you have.
And then you just add
that
plus
says,
1.
that says starting stats.
Yep.
You just click on that, select it, and then you add a plus 1 anywhere.
You got this.
Okay, so it automatically filled those in for me. I have a 1 in focus already.
Okay. You can choose to boast that or not.
Do you only get to boost one, or can you like move
Yeah.
it around?
Just
Yep.
one.
You add 1 + 1. I mean, these are your starting stats. So
No, I'll just leave it as is.
All
This
right,
will be
perfect.
interesting.
I like
Okay,
that.
so are you gonna boost any of the others?
your starting stats give you a +1 is the important.
Yeah, floating +1.
Yeah, that you can add to anything.
Crap. I don't know. I need to look at what each of these
Just put it in focus.
do.
You're rolling a focus check. Just put it in focus. It'll be great. All the cool kids are
It's
doing
good enough. It's a one shot.
One shot. Go for it.
Fine. So I use a 1 in my input.
I love it.
Okay.
Oh, miss
After all
failure.
that.
Miss failure. Okay, so you have an option. You have an option here. You can actually mark a fatigue to still succeed, but obviously, the more fatigue you mark, eventually you might pass out in a fight as it happens. So we can flavor this as you fail, or you can mark a fatigue and succeed, but there's a bit of a complication as it happens. How would you like to proceed?
I'll just fail.
Fail. I love that. So we watch as Isho uses her airbending abilities to launch herself up into the air, and it looks like she is flying directly towards this thing. Like she is about to grab it. We see the little air buffalo. It's like resting on a little branch, like up into this tree about 30 feet off the air. She is going towards it, arms outstretched, and then you watch the air buffalo get up off the branch. And it was weighing it down, and it goes right up, smacks her in the face, and she goes tumbling up into the air, spirals and somersaults all the way down, and it's becoming a thing in this by this riverside. She lands on her face in the muck by the river, and the little air buffalo lands right back on the little branch. It goes, it makes this little noise, and looks down. It seems like it's laughing at her. So this is where we find ourselves.
She'll look back up at it and be like, I actually wanted a mud mask today. Thank you.
I love it.
Or like,
Yeah.
Uh,
Beautiful.
So
Absolutely
so
beautiful.
we're trying to catch the sky bison.
yeah.
I need to send it back to the rest of its herd.
Makwa will get up at this point, having just sat in the water watching this. He will just pull the water out of his clothes, and approach Isha, who we still don't know the name, and would be like, "Would you like me to clean that off for you?"
Oh, sure, thanks.
Okay. He just kind of like does like a little mirror that slowly like forms to her body, and just kind of like washes it away, and then just pulls out the moisture.
Nice.
Everything changed when the Muddy River attacked.
Awesome.
Baz the Baz is fucking hilarious, dude. I love it. I love it, man.
Oh
Can
wow.
I
Are you
help?
all benders?
if I say yes, are we all gonna fight?
I mean, I'm not planning on fighting anyone.
I think
I
the only,
do know-
I think the
I do
only
know a
person that
little
would be fighting
firebending.
would be you, considering your affiliations.
Look, I can't help where I was born.
We aren't our
Yes.
ancestors.
But it's not our ancestors who have been attacking and causing damage to everybody.
I mean,
And it's not just been the ancestors; it's every generation that's been causing it on the Fire Nation side.
yeah, but I mean, this guy seems pretty cool. He seems trustworthy.
I'll hold my tongue as to his trustworthiness. If you
He
wish to
seems more
cross that.
trustworthy than that sky rat that's trying to.
The sky rat
Oh.
takes off
He's-
from
He's
the
a bison. I know he's small, but he'll be big one day.
he takes off and he's doing like a slow circle around the top of you, looking down and making his little noise. He's like yelling. And you see that
Uh-huh.
he flies down to the other side of the river where he lands and looks over, does another and then starts lapping up water next to the river. Like he's having a good
Uh-huh.
time.
Well, I have the least useful skill set for this, probably.
I could
In that-
probably leap the river and scare him this way if that'll help.
I think we'd rather kind of catch him when he isn't afraid.
I didn't. Of course, I forgot to bring some of his treats.
What does he like? The village I just helped gave me a bunch of supplies. Maybe I've got something in here. And Taitsu takes off his backpack and sets it down, and starts like pulling stuff out. He's like, "Well, I've got these dumplings that are reheat. They reheat very nicely."
I look over at Makwa. I'm like, village he helped see.
Do you have any cabbages?
And you see, like the thing dogs do when they like pop their, like they bounce on their front paws. He's across the river splashing water, and like it's like he heard cabbages and he's getting excited. He's like,
Taitsu's pulling out like trays. He's like, these seem like they might be cabbage rolls. They're not full cabbages, but they do have cabbage in them. And
splash,
pops it
splash,
open.
splash, 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 splash. In the distance, my cabbages.
Oh boy.
Taitsu holds out the little like tray with the cabbage rolls, and he's like, "You're welcome to them if they'll help." Do you think he would want them heated up?
No.
And as all of you are discussing, Makwa, you have your eyes locked on Taitsu. You still don't trust him. Waru, you're like, this is a weird situation I find myself in. Isho, you're like, hey, this guy seems pretty nice, right? And Taitsu, you're just trying not to piss anybody off. But as all of this is going on, you guys suddenly hear this sort of whipping-like noise. And you hear this aggressive splashing. And then the kind of noise that's been sort of playful becomes panicked. And as you look across, you see that the air bison, the sky bison, the buffalo, the flying buffalo of glory, has been trapped in a net. There is a long rope that has apparently been shot out of the forest edge, has captured the sky bison, and you watch before your eyes in horror that this little sky bison is pulled away from the edge, its little outstretched little paws going
No.
straight back.
I'd like to just forget about Taizu behind me and just jump towards the bison.
I love it.
Same.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
I'm gonna haul ass.
So you guys are
Um,
gonna start. Okay, so we're gonna start doing this. Let's go around the table. I'm gonna have everybody quickly just roll a 2d6, and that's how we're gonna determine initiative here. We're just gonna have everybody roll 2d6, okay? And then we are gonna dive into our first exciting adventure. So first up is actually going to be, well, it looks like it might be Taitsu, but we're waiting on Drew. All right, Waru, you're up first. Waru, you're gonna go first. Take it away, my man.
Waru's gonna pick up his club and just book it towards the where the sky bison's getting pulled into.
So it's literally like a capture net. You see it like it launched out, wrapped around him, and then he's just getting pulled back towards the forest, and you can just barely see his little fluffy paws outstretched at the forest edge where it starts to get really thick and there's some like shrubbery and whatnot.
Yeah,
and
no,
And as you get close, Drew, you can hear these sort of gruff, angry voices. Oh, I didn't think we'd be able to find some sky bison out here. These things cook up nicely. It's going to be a great treat. Yeah, the young ones got the most tender meat, as it were.
We've become Avatar PETA.
We're going to rename
Yeah.
this the sound of... I was joking about the buffalo wings as bats. Well, it's happening.
This isn't gonna work for me. So yeah.
All right, so
we're
you
gonna,
are rushing
Might say it's
across
not
the
gonna
water. You're going to
fly.
rushing across the water, and
Yeah.
I need you to decide how you'd like to try and do this because the water is going to be an obstacle. So you've got a couple of options that you can use. I think this would either be a push your luck or a rely on your skills and training. So you can push your luck to roll with passion, or you can rely on your skills and training to roll with focus. What would you like to do?
My passion is much better.
Mhm.
So I will push my luck.
I love it. So he's pushing his luck. He's not really good at swimming. He's an Earth Nation guy. He doesn't even bend. He's not even a bender. He's just a regular dude, which is cool. Respect it. I love it. And so he's going to push himself across. He's going to push himself across the river, as it were. And go ahead and roll with push your luck. Roll with passion.
Oh. Okay. Plus or minus forward. Let's just go with that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. You succeed. Now, you don't succeed brilliantly, but you do succeed. So I'd like to imagine that as you are moving your way across the water, how were you able to make your way quickly across the river? Do you see a slightly shallow spot where you're able to just kind of sprint across? Are there some rocks? Flavor this for us, Drew. How do you make your way across the river?
So Waru is a very kind of like focused kind of guy. It's not like a mental focus. It's more of just a like, he sees something and he just barrels his way into it. So he sees that this needs to be done and he just shoves his way through the water.
So we watch as he's standing on the outside.
I mean, he's up to like here by the time he's done.
Imagine there's the river. There's the three of you. There's Isho, Taitsu, and Makwa. And then Waru just barrels through the center of all of you. Basically just not diving, but just barrels through the water, creating this like tidal wave behind him as he's just like a rock just going, fuck you, water. I'm the Rock Nation. Let's go. Fire on. Rock on, baby. You just fucking pile through. You get neck deep, and then you just come out the other side. You barely lost any momentum as you pushed your way through. And as you lunge forward, you're able to just barely grab onto the netting. You just barely grab onto the netting, and you're like trying to like struggle with it, and the netting pulls. The little baby air bison is just crying and crying. You see a little tear in its eye. It's like pawing at the ground trying to get free. The net's getting tighter and tighter, and you hear these angry voices from somewhere deeper behind the tree line going, "Oh, what? Must be stuck on something. Get out there. Take a look at it. What the hell's going on out there?" But Waru, you've managed to do it. Now we're going to pivot over. To the next one of the initiative with Taitsu.
Taitsu, in a similar anxiousness to get across the river, is going to take 2 running strides, leap into the air, and then use firebending to create a jet so that he'll just essentially leap over the water.
I love it. You know what? Honestly, that's a super easy move. I'm not going to make you roll for it. That's super easy. That's something you've probably done 1,000 times. So you just do it. You just land on the other side. Perfect.
And then continues to sprint towards the baby Appa.
You're going to make it there, and you can still do something else if you'd like to.
What is the rope pulling the net made out of?
Rope?
Okay, it's just regular
rope. Yeah.
In which case, Taitsu will try and use a fire whip to like snap the rope. So
I love it.
It'll stop being able to pull him into the forest.
I love it. Let's go ahead, and I think that would probably be a rely on your skills and training. Is what that sounds. That sounds like a focus, right? You think so, or you think you're pushing your luck?
Focus is fine. It just sucks because I'm bad at focus.
Oh, okay. Are you pushing your luck? Is this a risky situation? Like you might risk hitting the forest or anything?
No, a fire whip is pretty. I mean, if I was launching fireballs, we might be in trouble. But a fire whip is pretty controlled.
Okay, perfect. Let's do rely on your skills and training then. Go ahead and roll it. Oh, so we watch as Taitsu launches himself up and over the river. The problem, Taitsu, is that you gave yourself a little bit too much boost. You're like Iron Man when he first created the Mark 1 armor, and you're like, whoa! And you land, and as you land, you're like, fire whip, go! And you fire whip, and as you lash out, you don't hit the netting. You hit the ground right in front of Waru, and it bursts into flames. And Waru, you are forced to let go of the netting, and you watch as the little air bison, the little air buffalo goes, and is gone into the forest edge.
Shit, dude, I stood up for you.
Sorry. It was trying.
All right, next up in the situation, we have none other than Isho. Isho, you've watched your charge, your tiny little air buffalo that you were supposed to bring back. It was going to be a beautiful day, and suddenly those puffy clouds in the sky look a little bit darker. What would you like to do?
I would like to try to follow it.
Okay.
So I will make one of the spheres, air spheres, and like kind of like ride along that
I
to
love it.
go
I
into
love
the
it.
forest.
So you're going to push yourself across the water, across the forest, and into the forest. So now we have a situation where I'm going to have you probably do and assess the situation. So this is a situation, if you open up the basic moves, where you're going to want to potentially get a chance to ask a question. So the question that you can ask when you do this roll, this is rolling with creativity, are what here can I use to do something? Who or what is the biggest threat? What should I be on the lookout for? What is my best way in, out, or through the situation? Who or what is in the greatest danger? So go ahead and roll and assess the situation, and you'll get a chance to ask a question. That question would likely be something on the lines of, where did the buffalo go? Do I see tracks? Do I still see the rope? Like, what are my options to proceed forward and help prepare the narrative forward? Does that make sense? Beautiful! Holy balls! Let's go. Our first critical success. Awesomely done, Isho. Awesomely done. So you actually get to ask 2 questions on that list. So go ahead and pop open the assess the situation. Look at those potential questions. What 2 questions would you like to ask? And I have to answer them honestly.
What am I opening? I'm
You're
sorry.
opening up the basic moves reference that's listed under fighting style.
Yep. There it is. Uh.
And then further open the assess the situation.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm going to assess this kitty who's in front of my desk right now. She's so fluffy.
Aww.
You little kitty. Love it. Yes. You can still hear it. Oh, yeah, we got it. Bring it in. We'll be eating good tonight, boys.
What is the best way to wherever they're pulling, like where the rope has started from? Like, best way to get there.
Okay, good.
And what can I use to cut said rope?
I love those questions. Okay, so you got a couple different options here. So the best way to get there, you can see that the tree line was thick along the water's edge because a lot of the shrubbery, the forest, the greenery has access to a consistent water source. So it was very big and overgrown. But as soon as you cross through that threshold of the forest edge where it's very thick, it starts to thin out a little bit the deeper in you get. So what you see is that there's actually sort of like almost an opening in the trees where it starts to widen out. You can see that it heads off to a small road that is about maybe 100 feet. 50 feet away from the water's edge, right? 50 feet from the water's edge. You see 3 individuals. They look like basically just like regular townsfolk, but they have this device. It looks like basically a large crossbow, like a heavy crossbow. And it's got this net system on the front. And you can see that the one of them is like holding it. And the other one's cranking it back. This is the device they shot and caught the little air buffalo, which you'll have to name at some point. It needs a name. Don't think about it now.
It has a name.
So it has a name.
Baby
Perfect.
Appa.
The Baby Appa. It's a Baby Appa. I love it. So it has a name. Maybe it's different. We'll find out. But we see him and we see them cranking. So the best way through is simply forward, using your air bending abilities to kind of launch yourself up and over any of the little sticks and branches, as it were. And as far as cutting it, you see that there are some sharp looking rocks and stones that maybe you could use some of your bending to whip up and then kind of use as like a bladed attack. If you like launch them in the air, kind of use them like a razor blade or a knife to sever the rope as they're pulling him back.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was brilliant. So that was your turn, and then we're gonna pivot to the last, but certainly not least, Makwa. What would you like to do?
I would like to dive into the water and emerge as part of a giant water dragon.
I love it.
That just roars into the forest towards the where the rope was coming from. And I would like to intimidate it.
I love that. I love that so much. So are you going to be calling someone out then? It sounds like you were trying to intimidate. So you're trying to probably call them out. You're trying to basically like get them afraid. Or are you just going to actually roll and intimidate?
I'd like to intimidate them into just fleeing.
Perfect. Okay, so you're going to roll an intimidate. So what you're going to do is we watch as Makwa dives into the water. It's trained. It's perfect. Probably something you've done 1,000 times before, if not more. And as you emerge, we see this magnificent swirling dragon. This dragon made out of water, and it launches itself, water wings spread wide. We see just through the water, we can see Makwa basically like almost like he's in a mech, like he's Iron Man, like he's Iron Manning this shit. He's like boom, and he launches himself forward in, and it is just terrifying. The trees crumble and are pushed back away from him. It lands with this thud. It's kind of this like soggy thud as it lands on the ground, and it's just whooshing. And you can hear this like it sounds like a waterfall as the dragon lets out a roar as you do so. So go ahead and roll a intimidate. You're gonna go ahead and roll an intimidate. You're rolling with passion. Go ahead and make it happen.
Do I get any bonuses or penalties?
I'm gonna give you a +1 on this because that's a fucking badass description, my dude. I love it. I love where your mind's at.
What?
What?
No.
No. How does
No,
that work?
Didn't work. That didn't work. You put two. You put a plus in there. You just put a 1. You don't have to put a +1.
Oh,
You just put a 1.
I was
So go ahead
about
and
to
reroll.
say, how did I roll a 0 on 2d6?
That would not. That would not work. That would not work.
Okay, it's trying
Yep.
again.
Okay.
Oh, success! That is brilliant. Okay, so what's really cool about this is when you succeed, you pick one and they cannot choose. So you pick which one you want to have happen.
I choose one that they cannot choose.
Correct. They cannot choose.
I choose that they cannot attack me.
Okay, perfect. So what they are going to do is they actually all see this dragon. You hear them all go, "What the hell is that? Oh gods, the water spirits! The river spirit is angry! We're doomed! We're doomed! Run for the hills!" The other one looks over and says, "Look, there's a fucking guy in it. It's just some stupid waterbender." The other one says, "What the hell is that? Is that a fucking airbender? I thought they were all dead." "Oh no, it's a different alternate universe." "Oh yeah, that makes total sense." Of course. Right. They still exist. The Fire Nation did their thing, but it wasn't as bad as in the original series. Yeah, I remember. I watched that one. I read the manga too. It was pretty good. All right, so anyway, but we see them. So they're going to back down. But they're going to keep watch. So they back down. They actually drop the crossbow, and you see that these are just regular looking dudes, and they like draw some like short swords and stuff, and they look ready to fight. Now, none of these weapons look like military weapons. They look just like farm implements and things that have been fashioned into weapons. So that's their turn. So now we're in a moment where we can continue with this sort of combat situation, or we can attempt to solve this situation with your words. How would you guys like to approach the situation? Do you want to get violent, or do you want to try to use your words to fix it? Anybody can go first.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'd like to essentially like just splash down on the other side of the rope of where the baby bison is and take a hold of the rope and just be like, release the rope and we can go our separate ways.
Did release it. We dropped it.
Oh, they dropped it? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, they dropped it. They dropped the crossbow.
Okay,
And they
so I'm just like, okay, and I just start undoing the
Hey, what are you doing there? That's our food. We caught it fair and square. You can't steal our food. We captured it. That's our food.
So
Sorry, that belongs to the circus.
Back up.
I
back
will.
up.
Whoa. We don't see any circus here. It's just a forest, and it was right there on the river's edge, and we caught it. We're hunting. It's our prey. You drop it.
I'll step up in between the sky bison and the armed guys and kind of thunk my club down into the ground and say, "Hunt elsewhere. This is not prey."
It's not prey. We caught it. They're delicious. You ever had baby buffalo wings? They're delicious.
Taitsu rolls up his sleeves, comes around the corner, looking very calm, says, "Gentlemen, I think you will find that Fire Nation law protects sky bison from hunting, and you wouldn't want to find yourselves on the wrong side of Fire Nation law, would you?"
Ooh, I'm gonna have you roll trick. I'm gonna have you roll a trick on this one. So you are trying to trick an NPC. Roll with creativity.
Hey, that's the thing I put all my stats in. Yay.
Very excited.
Oh my
no! Oh
Wait.
no!
Is there like a roll to
So-
assist? Is
so-
that a
Wait, hold
thing?
on.
You can roll to assist, but the most you can give someone is a +1.
And the rest of
How
us
did I-
can't +1
I
that
mean,
up either.
It should be a 4, but still, I
Yeah.
rolled 2 1s on my 2.
All right. Do you want to take? Let's see. I don't think there's any options here. Yeah, that just you go to say this. You sound so official, and there's a moment where all three of these generic-looking dudes look at each other. They look left. They look right. The one in the center is like looking a little afraid. He sees your Fire Nation.
Yeah, but I'm still covered in all the mud I fell in
Yeah,
that I
yeah,
never
you're still
cleaned
covered
off.
in mud. You didn't cover it off,
You
right?
didn't clean him up?
No, I didn't clean him up. No.
And the one looks like he's about to be like, we don't want any trouble. And then the one on the right goes, hey, wait a minute. There's no rules against hunting sky bison. In fact, there's a reward for hunting them. You're a phony. You're a big phony. And they look a little annoyed still. So they are menacingly, but a little standing off because there's still a water spirit in front of them, which they're afraid of. The muddy river has come to life to wreak its vengeance upon them.
All
But
right,
they're
I'm
standing there.
gonna roll my eyes and just rush in and beat one of them in the head.
Oh my god, so we're just going straight
God.
violence? Okay.
While he's
Dang,
doing that,
okay.
I'm gonna be crouched down trying to undo this rope around or the net around.
It is this is a pretty intense looking device. In fact, you're trying to get the air bison free, and it's like it's like pawing at your hands, and it's making it more complicated. It's getting more tangled up as it's happening.
Or-
but
Do I not get to use the rocks that I discovered earlier?
Oh, if you want to just go ahead and use those rocks, you can just cut them free. Absolutely. I love it. You want to do that? Is that how you want to flavor it? You just cut them free with the rocks?
Yeah.
Fuck it, done. All right, you're just like cut, and he leaps into your arms, and he's like, like you almost fall over.
And I changed my mind. I'm not going to actually attack. I'm going to try and provoke him.
Ooh,
I have
somebody
a move, a stand and fight. When you provoke an NPC opponent into attacking you, roll with passion.
Ooh.
On a hit, they're coming at you specifically. So
Okay.
I'm pretty much just gonna like pick up my club and say, fine, if you want it, come and take it, and just crouch.
Ooh. You know what? They accept your challenge.
Oh,
So,
dang.
Now we're gonna move into some combat. So the way that combat works, like actual combat, is you have a couple of basic combat moves that you can do. Now, when combat starts, you all decide what combat, basically school, or which of the 3 different types of combats you're gonna do. Okay, so the basic combats, there's 3 of them. It's defend and respond, advance and attack, and then evade and observe. Now you pick which one you're doing during this particular round. The enemies pick, and then pretty much everything happens simultaneously. All right, so they go, you go, it all happens at the same time, but you pick from that particular school or that particular basically choice of 3 different options. You pick what you want to do. So everyone can be involved in this. They're going to be advancing and attacking. Okay, that's what they're going to be trying to do, is advance and attack. What would you like?
I'm going to evade and observe.
You're picking evade and observe. Okay, perfect.
I'm going to block any strikes and to
So you're picking defend and respond, right?
Perfect. Yeah, defend and
Just
respond.
tell me
is
which
block.
one you're doing. You pick it. You're doing defend and respond. They're doing advance and attack. We've got evade and observe. Isho, what are you planning to do?
I'm also going to evade and observe.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Okay, so they're going to go first. So they are actually going to roll a strike. Okay, so they are going to roll a strike. They're coming at you with their weapons, their clubs, their like blades, and they're going to try to basically beat you into submission, Waru. That's what they are attempting to do. They're trying to inflict you with either a condition, or they're going to be marking 1 fatigue to inflict a condition on a foe within reach. So they're coming at you, and
I have a interjection.
Go for it.
They have to roll. They have to mark 2 fatigue.
Yeah.
Because I'm blocking them.
Oh, good point. They do have to mark 2 fatigue. Well, they're going to roll 2 fatigue. I like that. In fact, that's how it works. You're right. You guys go first. So you roll your stuff. So let me see here. So let's do Drew. You're doing what? You're doing defend?
I'm gonna stand and fight.
Stand and fight. All right, perfect.
It's a move.
Okay. Go ahead and roll it.
with passion. Submit.
Beautiful. Critical
Nice.
success. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. All right, that's very
So
good.
on a hit, they're coming at you specifically.
Okay,
On a 10 plus, you're ready for them. Clear a condition or clear 2 fatigue.
that's beautiful. So if you had any fatigue, you could clear it, but you were
Yep.
ready for the attack. That's brilliant. Umbral, Makwa, go
Mhm.
ahead and roll yours.
Okay, so I roll my block.
Yep, which is you. For the rest of the exchange, mark 1 fatigue to block an enemy within reach. He uses that fatigue unless they mark additional fatigue. Wow.
Yeah, and then I have, because I have strength
Basically,
of heart.
you don't have to roll that. That's just a thing that, like, I do this, and I can
Mhm.
mark 1 fatigue to make them mark an extra fatigue. So you're just ready to block.
It's 2 fatigue because
Yeah.
because of my strength of the heart.
They either have to fail or they have to roll an extra 2 fatigue. That's
Yep.
crazy. That's amazing. All right, good. Isho, go ahead, and which of the evade and observe are you planning to do?
I'm just going to watch a foe.
I love it. Okay, so you choose an engaged foe cover to observe, and you have to stay with them before anyone makes any other choices. They must announce what approach they choose and 1 technique. Okay, so basically, you'll get a chance to know what they're doing before you pick what you're going to do in response moving forward. Because usually you guys pick what you're going to do, and then I pick in secret what the enemies are going to do, and then it goes back and forth. Does that make sense? Everybody good?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Bri, the firebender guy, what are you doing?
I'm gonna test one of their which I assume they're just approaching all 3 of us.
They're
We're
just
standing
they're
in
rushing
front?
towards Waru. That's what they're doing.
So I'm going to test their balance. So I'm going to ask
Ooh.
one of them what their principle is, and they have to answer honestly.
Okay, mark 1 fatigue to question a foe you might fight with. Ask them what the principle is. They must answer honestly. If you already know their principle, you may instead shift their balance. All right, so he goes to move forward. What do you ask him? You're like, what's your principle?
What? Yeah, I'm like, why would you attack someone when the worst that can happen here is that you have to hunt some more?
Air buffalo meat's worth it. It's delicious. Ah! And they just rush forward, screaming about air buffalo meat and how they're obsessed with it.
Is that their principle?
It's the principle.
Huh?
It's the
It's
buffalo.
air-
Principle is
Boom.
nom nom nom
This
The
guy
principle
bites
is
some
nom nom
delicious.
nom nom nom. Buffalo meat is best.
NPCs, they don't have
Cool.
Buffalo meat is best. That is their principle. Buffalo meat is best. That is what they believe. That is what they believe. I
they're
absolutely love it.
entrepreneurs trying to start the first B-dubs.
All right, so all 3 of them are attacking Umbral. How many points of fatigue are you going to be using? Are you doing 1 for each of them, or what are we saying? The one in the center says, "Where's the beef?" There it is. Having too much
Let's
fun.
see. I will. Okay, so are all of them striking?
All of them are doing strikes. Yeah, they're all coming. at
Okay,
you.
then yeah, I
Mark
mark
3. Okay.
Yeah, I mark 3.
So imagine, if you will, that all 3 of them come at Waru, and as they do so, Waru, you're ready. You've got your weapon in hand. They're like, buffalo meat is delicious. They're just rushing towards you. You can just see the crazed hunger in their eyes. And suddenly this giant water spirit dragon just goes kaboom. And this wave of water splashes. And all of them are like, oh no, the spirit of the water. And none of their attacks go off because they don't have that much fatigue to mark. So they all just get blocked by this situation. And because I think it's hilarious, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flavor this that they all turn tail and run. They just run. They're just like, fuck it, we're out. The benders were just regular dudes that were hungry. They try to grab their little crossbow, but it's too wet. It slips out of their hands. One of them trips and falls. The other one picks them up, and they're crying. And it's just like anime, tears running down their head. Like, we just wanted to eat. We're so hungry. The Fire Nation burned our fields. They're terrible people. It's that guy's fault. Look at his face. He looks like an evil Fire Nation guy. And they just, and you just hear them running away in the distance.
Oof.
The little air buffalo is nuzzling up against your face, just like.
Waru's standing there, crouched, his club ready, and he just looks over at Makwa and he's like, "Damn benders," and he just kind of dejectedly flips his club around, sets it down. At least the little guy's okay.
I'm sorry, what?
Nuzzle, 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 nuzzle.
Thank you for
It's
your
a good
help.
boy.
Ah, yes. And at the mention of thank you for your help, you all smell something in the air.
Uh-oh.
It smells like burning. It smells like fire. And as you all look towards the sky, you can just barely see through the tree line. Back in the direction, Isho, back in the direction of apparently where your camp was located a few miles away, you see black smoke rising in the sky.
And I try to get I want to see better. So I launch myself up into the air and
Right up into the air. The air bubble is like surprise. It has that like surprised cat look on its face where the cat's eyes go wide. Like, meow. You've ever picked up a cat and didn't expect it? Like confused. It goes right up into the sky. You get up above the tree line and you look over and you know that there was a field, a kind of clearing in the middle of the forest where your troop had camped. You see nothing. Black smoke rising up from where that camp was. It looks like the field itself is in flames.
her first instinct would be just to go, but these people down below have proven that they can help. So she will come back down and quickly explain the situation and then go.
I sling my club over my back and hoof it.
Beautiful. 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 Mako, what are you doing?
I bring out the dragon again, and I follow the river as much as I can, and then I just drag it over towards where the smoke is coming from to just bring a huge supply of water.
Love that. I love that journey for you. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Etsu, what are you doing?
So she's told us that there's a fire in the place that she's. Yeah. In which case, Taitsu will use fire jets to climb to the top of the trees, assuming that there'll be easier time moving through there, and then just use fire jets to like leap from treetop to treetop.
As you start
to make better time.
As you start to leap from treetop to treetop, you notice there's something strange about the black smoke. You can see these little like streams of fire that kind of shoot out from them now and again. And you're pretty sure you recognize some firebending going over that direction. Someone's fucking around and finding out. Not good. Not good.
Yeah. So yeah, Taitsu will be like, careful there. It looks like firebending.
Yes. Yes.
Great. More benders. Just what I wanted.
Wee! Benders! They exist everywhere. So you guys are getting closer and closer. Isho, you got a fresh head start. Makwa, you're close behind. Taitsu, you're pretty close behind Isho as well. And Waru, you are running as best as a regular dude can. Just
you're like Hawkeye running after the rest of the
Avengers.
It's okay. It's okay. He's our Sokka.
He is your Sokka. Okay. I love it.
Water drive.
I absolutely love it. You're just running and running and running, and then eventually, Isho,
just doing the best I can, guys.
And you are within 100 feet or so of your camp, and what you see before you is out of a nightmare. All of the tents are in flames. You can see a few individuals running around. You see a few bodies lying on the ground, and you can see there are a couple of individuals dressed in black. They are dressed in black. They have hoods up. They have masks where only their eye slits are showing, and there's a singular red line that comes down the front of their outfits, and they're like, you see this woman go like, no, just whoosh, and fire just covers that person, and you can hear some of them shouting, "We are almost done here. Find the headmaster. Find him. We must bring him to our master." And they're just like yelling. And you know the headmaster's like the head circus troupe guy, also an airbender. And Waru, as you get close and you see these individuals, you recognize this particular clothing as the same type of clothing that the bandits that work with your the guy you've been looking for, this is his group of individuals. This is his group of individuals. Makwa, you don't recognize. Taitsu, you know of this particular band. This is basically a rogue band of firebenders that when the alternate universe timeline firebenders said, you know what, we're not going to murder everybody. That seems a little aggressive. Let's work together in harmony. Super sorry about all of that. This group was like, no, fuck everybody. We're going to burn the nation. We're going to burn everything down. If we can't have what we want, everything gets torched. So they're basically like a rogue group of terrorists that run around and just kill people because they're terrible people. That's where we're at. We're gonna call them the fire jacks, jackass fire people, jackasses, the fire jacks. Yeah, they call them the flame jacks, flame jack FAJ.
Flameo, hot man.
Yes, yeah, there's the hot men. They call them the hot men. That's what they call them. There it is.
Flameo.
The flamios. That's what they call them. The flamios. Yeah.
The flaming fists.
El Flamos, like Al Qaeda, but El Flamos.
Flaming hot Cheetos.
That's gonna get me canceled. Oh my god. That's really funny.
That's what's finally going to take you down, Wolf.
I don't know. There's been a lot of other things that should have, but that's what's gonna take me down right there.
Naming the assassin.
El Flamey Cheetos. Oh, that's terrible. All right, so you see the situation before you, and I'd like to imagine you all arrive at the edge of the clearing. Oh, hey, little lady. Look at that.
Baby bender.
Is that your niece?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. So we watch as you all arrive roughly around the same time. Waru, you are huffing and puffing, but you see this. There's like one guy that you can see. It might be him. It might be one of his underlings, but he is just like whoosh, just like burning down a tent, and it's just you can hear him just
Seeing that there are firebenders, Taitsu would like to drop in like with presence, just like he drops in with a huge boom, just a big burst of fire in the center, and immediately is like, in the name of Lord Oranek, you will stop immediately. To try and intimidate them.
So there's a moment where you guys all arrive and you see this gout of flame as Taitsu launches himself. He lands. There is an explosion, a ring of fire. The man dressed in the black kind of ninja-like outfit, you know, with a hood and everything. It's got like a little cloak up. He's got his face covered, the red stripe down the center. You watch as he quickly moves his hand and just does one of these motions, pushing out, and the flames part in front of him, not actually hitting him. And he sort of tilts his head to the side in that classic evil bad guy, I don't exactly know what's going on, who the fuck do you think you are kind of motion, like a what do you mean? I see you there. You have no power here. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not getting that. So, yeah. He says, and we move on.
Did you just ooh?
I did.
Yeah.
You got to. We're doing an anime thing.
I hate it so much.
I love it so much because it bothers
Why?
you. All right, so as this all takes place and transpires, as it were, thanks, that's what I was aiming for. Cheetos never win. So you call out to him. Go ahead and roll an intimidate check.
Oh my god, can I roll anything but a 3?
The individual standing tall. You see that there's still these flames. As the flames like launched forward, as you made this fire ring to like try to like push him back, you watched as he did this hand motion, part of the fire, then brought his hands in front, pulled the fire back around, and then like contained it in both of his palms. So the fire that you created, he is now holding on to these little flaming orbs and is holding on to them. And Drew, remind me, what is the name of this man? What is this name of this man that you have been hunting?
Tao Li.
Tao Li? You speak for this lord? I do not serve that lord. I serve the true master of the Fire Nation, the one who knows our rightful place as the rulers of all kingdoms and nations. I serve and only respond to Tao Li. And at the mention of Tao Li, I can imagine Waru's face gets like just scowled. There is like a bunch of like crows as he says it. They go and like travel up into the sky. And the flames seem to get a little bit bigger.
Waru has not slowed down I imagine he like rushes up as he hears that.
Yeah.
And he starts running faster, does not say anything, and literally just rushes in and tries at least to bust this dude immediately in the face.
Oh my god. So as you rush forward, my friend, that fire that he has in his hands, he is going to take it and he creates this fire basically wall in front of him. And as the firewall bursts up, you are stopped in your tracks. And as you
I'm going-
pierce through the fire, my friend,
Okay.
you watch as you see him pull down his mask and he smiles at you with that Cheshire-like grin. And then you see the flames rise up. And there is no way for you to get through it without jumping through that fire and probably burning yourself.
Can I, when I arrive, can I
Yeah.
arrive and use a support action
Sure.
to just put out as much of the fire as I can, especially that fire?
I have a move called Walls Can't Hold Me. When
Love
you
it.
rely on your skills and training to dangerously smash your way through walls or other obstacles, roll with passion instead of focus.
Okay.
A wall of fire.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds like exactly what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
So I'm gonna like not even like see it.
So you are going to push through that wall of fire, but as you push
Mhm.
through that wall of fire, I like what you said, Makwa. You push that wall of fire, but Makwa sees what you're doing and launches a geyser of water. If I can flavor this for you, Makwa, if this makes sense, you can obviously tell me to change it. But as the
Mhm.
fire hits it, this cloud of steam and smoke obscures your vision, Waru. It just completely obscures your vision. And as your vision is obscured, you continue to rush forward. You have your weapon and you are ready to swing, but as you go to swing, that man with the black clothing and the red stripe, you guessed it, it's nowhere to be found. He has vanished. He has gone somewhere. He has run away. Coward.
Bam, bam.
He just starts screaming, "You coward! Come and face me!"
Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Isho, you are at the edge. You're seeing all these fires. You can't see any of your friends, any of your fellow circus troops, any of your buddies. In fact, the large tent where the air buffalo were being held is engulfed in flames as well. And you can see your little buddy. What's his name? What's your air buffalo's name? What's the little guy's name?
His name is Karma.
His name is Karma. So Karma is letting out sad air buffalo noises. He's trying to paw towards where the barn was.
I would absolutely be rushing forward to try to free the livestock and try to get people out. And would I be able to? No, this isn't a question. I'm gonna use my airbending and make a fire tornado
Ooh.
to get it out of the way.
Yeah. Start to kind of like rise it up and start to like try to put the flames out. How is everyone else helping? I imagine Makwa, you're using water to start putting out fire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like when Isho like is pulling the fires into one area, like I'm trying to come in from the bottom so that the water gets sucked in and pulls it up.
I love it. You guys are working together. Taitsu, what are you doing to help?
Taitsu is going to be like trying to control the flames to make them like essentially just suck all the fire out of the places where there's fires,
Yeah,
where
so
there
just, like,
shouldn't be
taking
fires.
away the fire. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Very good. Very good. And Waru,
Doing
you
that-
are just
Doing that thing that firebenders do where they punch towards fires and they go out.
Yep. You're just like, no. You're fucking like Darth Vadering this shit. Just
So we're working to help, and he's having his angsty moment.
his angsty breakdown. The fire is all around him. You see you guys jumping and putting out flames and helping.
His edgelord moment.
Yeah, his edgelording. I love it. I absolutely love
I
it.
thought I was supposed to be the edgelord.
You were, Makwa. What are you doing over there helping? You just gotta be edgelording it.
Yeah, come on.
He's pretty much just like running around like smashing shit and trying to call out Tao Li, just
Yeah.
running this way and that. He's not overly helpful with firefighting.
Calling
Even
out
in a-
Tali.
Yeah.
God damn. Damn, that's rough. That is absolutely rough. As he's just shouting at the sky, yelling, screaming. You guys are putting out the flames, and as all of the flames over the course of the next 10 or so minutes, you guys use all of your abilities. You do finally eventually put out the flames and find that majority of the troop, all of their equipment burned. Now, luckily, the air bisons, you actually hear this deeper mourn, like a high. You see the air bison did get out. It lands. Karma's mother and father are both completely fine. They got away. And they land, and he runs over and nuzzles, and they nuzzle up against next to you. And you see a couple of the leaders of the circus come out, and they're just shocked, tears, they're crying, and they're just trying to figure out what happened. And one of them, your particular, like, basically troop leader, walks over and says, Isho, feared the worst when you did not return. And the flames, these bandits, these Fire Nation terrorists, they came in, and at first they said they were simply seeking a place to rest. We thought them simple travelers. But then they started to speak ill of us. They started to call us vagabonds and gypsies. And then they used the very fire that we had cooked their meal with to start to torch everything and kill so many lives have been lost. I don't know how we will ever recover from this situation.
Isho is also crying at this devastation, and she says, we will do what we always do. We will carry on. We will rebuild, and we will tell their stories.
Taitsu is just sort of standing in the center of all the devastation, looking incredibly guilty and powerless. Like,
I'll ask him. She's very upset at this point. She'll ask, what's your Taitsu? Are you with these people?
no,
Did
those
you
are,
know about this?
no, they're like bandits. They don't. They're. I mean, you saw. I tried to. I hope you saw. I tried to assert some authority based on my father's name, but they didn't respond. They, like, I guess they're like rebels. I'm so sorry.
Rational thought is mixing with, the whole
What do I do with my
everything
hands?
that just happened.
What do I do
So
with my hands? I don't know.
I don't know. With
Um,
everything. So
Makwa, what do you got?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Makwa is just walking around like extremely silent and disheartened with the devastation that he's seeing. He's just kind of splashing some cinders out here and there.
You know how to use waterbending to heal?
I believe that is a higher level thing,
Okay.
but he probably knows of it, and he'd reproach himself about not knowing how to heal and offer to at least help clean the bodies of the soot so that they could be taken care of properly.
And as this sort of scene falls over us, Waru crying, Makwa looking slightly dejected as though he wish he could do more, Isho struggling here in between what can I do? Like, am I mad at him, but also it's not his fault. Taitsu feeling this regret, this sort of internal struggle of this is who I am, but I'm trying to break away from the terrors that my people have caused. I'm actually going to ask the group a question. Bri has just informed me that he's going to have to bounce here in a little bit because his niece and stuff showed up very early and he has to go watch her. Would you guys be open to turning this into a 2-shot? I wasn't sure. I was hoping to get another couple hours in. Would you guys have availability next weekend or the weekend after at the same time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know, C4A, you have a lot of stuff. What would your schedule look like? I'd be willing to find another time if it's not even on Saturday, but I'd be willing to move some other stuff around if need be to help accommodate this group, because I'm actually I wasn't sure what to expect, but I'm having a fuck ton of fun with you guys. This is super cool. I didn't know where this is going to go, but I'm having fun. And again, I'm not mad at Bri. Life happens, of course, but I'd like to continue this story on. I don't want to end it right here. I think there's a little bit more that we can get into. Probably another hour and a half, 2 hours. But C4A, what's your schedule like, my friend?
I think off the top of my head, I think next Saturday is okay.
Okay. So let's do this. Let's plan for next Saturday. You keep us posted, C4A. It sounds like everyone else is good to go. No issues whatsoever. Okay, perfect.
No, I can't do next Saturday.
You cannot. No, you cannot.
No.
Okay, gotcha. Anytime during the week that folks would be available, even if I have to move something else around. I could do Monday night. I could do Wednesday night. I could do Thursday night.
Yeah, I can't do Monday, but I can do Wednesday, Thursday.
Wednesday, Thursday. Do you guys
Maybe
want to?
Wednesday.
You guys want to maybe shoot for Wednesday night? Would that?
I
work
can do
for
Wednesday,
everybody?
Thursday.
Okay, let's shoot for
Yep.
Wednesday. Wednesday, and it would be at around. Let's shoot for. So, what would be good for you, Bri? Because you're on Pacific Coast.
Yeah, I have to make it home from work, so I'd probably be 8:30 at the earliest.
So let's do 8:30 p.m., 7:30 p.m. Central. Okay. Let's shoot for that on Wednesday. I usually have another game that I run on that day, but I'm just going to push that game back because it's offline and I'd rather do this, if I'm being honest. Don't tell that group that. But that's what I do.
Hey-
And I want to get through this and I'm having fun with this. So
Hey
let's do
Brian,
it.
you should have your niece create a character right now and have her join
Do it.
in as
Do it.
the one we're training.
But
She's
so-
4. There's no way.
Here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna leave this on a bit of a cliffhanger. We're gonna leave this a little bit of a cliffhanger right here. And our next session, we're gonna go and we're gonna hunt down these terrible bandits. And we're gonna go take care of this bandit group, the L Fire Cheetos, the L Fire Cheetoritos. We're gonna go take them out. And I just want to thank everybody for joining in here today. This has been an absolute delight. You guys are all smiling, laughing, and being super awesome. And I just want to say thank you very much. And we will pick this back up Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to pick this back up, and we're going to do part 2 of our one-shot. So this is, and a one-shot doesn't have to be just one. One-shots are just like short adventures. So we're doing this in a two-parter one-shot, and this will be completed next Wednesday. And I'll set an event reminder here in the Discord. But until then, as I always say at the end of every session, any final thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns before we get ready to wrap up part 1 of our Avatar one-shot?
No?
No, it's a good game,
One.
guys.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, until next time, be well, be safe. I want to say thank you to the players for playing. You all dived into your roles so brilliantly. It was super entertaining. And thank you to the viewers for viewing. We had a bunch of new faces and chats in the chat here, so thank you guys for hanging out. Happy gaming, and we will catch you guys on Wednesday for the conclusion of our Avatar one-shot. Umbral, thank you again for the point spend. And until then, be well, be safe, and happy gaming. Cheers.